doesn't care about you. That's why you need a medical emergency kit. It contains life-saving medications like ivermectin, Z-Pak, and antibiotics. Stock them before they block them.
Emmanuel Macron's political career basically over? France's president is facing his toughest moment yet. Record low approval, allies walking away, and a parliament so divided it can't pass basic laws. Some French media now call his presidency a zombie government. It all started after Macron's gamble in the 2024 snap elections backfired. No party won a majority, the left-wing alliance got the most seats, the far right surged, and Macron's centrist bloc fell apart. Since then, France has burned through 3 prime ministers in less than a year. The latest, Sébastien Lecornu, lasted only 27 days before losing a confidence vote, and Macron reappointed him anyway, which many saw as a desperate move. Budget fights, pension reforms, and protests have all added to the chaos. So is Macron quitting? Not yet. He insists he'll serve until 2027 when his final term ends. But with no majority, no coalition, and fading support, he's already acting like a lame duck president. After 2027, Macron can't run again. French law limits presidents to 2 terms. So whether he likes it or not, the countdown to his exit has already started. What comes next for France? That's the real question.
Fuck Netanyahu and Trump. Turkish hacker Cyber Islam was here. Telegramtional Cyber Islam. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Hacked by Newtown, long, live, free Palestine. Hacked by Newtown. Hacked by Cyber Islam. Fuck Netanyahu and Trump. Turkish hacker Cyber Islam was here. Telegramtional Cyber Islam. Hacked by Newtown, long, live, free Palestine. Hacked by Newtown. Hacked by Cyber Islam. Fuck Netanyahu and Trump. Turkish hacker Cyber Islam is here. Telegramtional Cyber Islam. Hacked by Newtown, long, live, free Palestine. Hacked by Newtown. Hacked by Cyber Islam. Fuck Netanyahu and Trump. Turkish hacker Cyber Islam is here. Telegramtional Cyber Islam. Hacked by Newtown, long, live, free Palestine.
Mr. President, you're meeting with President Xi in a few weeks.
Yeah.
If you can't come to an agreement or a deal at that meeting, are we in for a sustained trade war with China?
Well, you're in one now.
Step in this war on cartels, and are you considering options? Are you considering strikes on land?
Well, I don't want to tell you exactly, but we are certainly looking at land now because we've got the sea very well under control. We've had a couple of days where there isn't a boat to be found. And that I view that as a good thing, not a bad thing. But we had tremendous amounts coming in by boats, by very expensive boats. You know, they have a lot of money, very fast, very expensive boats that were pretty big. And the way you look at it is every boat that we knock out, we save 25,000 Americans.
Сука, нахуй! Пошел нахуй! Пошел нахуй! Yeah. I'm subscribed to
Welcome back to the SCIF. We've got a hell of a show for you today. It's going to be packed, so we're going to get going. In the cold open, you see France is falling apart, and we're going to have probably Thierry Laurent on next week to talk more about that, our expert in the French political scene. But that is happening, and hopefully it'll happen across multiple globalist capitals in Europe. Trump is going after Venezuela. I got a lot of texts in recent days that Trump wants war with Venezuela. I don't know what this is. My sense is it's about the 2020 election, because I think he knows that it was stolen. Well, I know he knows it was stolen, but I think he knows who's behind it. So I think he's going after them. And on that note, we got the Florida men with us today, Chris Gleason and Jeff Buongiorno. I don't know if I ever pronounce his name right, but I'll ask him how to pronounce it. But they're going to be on here, second segment, and we're going to talk about election fraud in the great state of Florida, specifically Palm Beach County, and what's going on there. You also saw in the cold open the Ukrainian SBU, their KGB. This is Ukrainian government shock troops busting into an Orthodox monastery and beating the priests, attacking them with chainsaws. The attack on Christianity is happening globally, my friends, and we are all over it. We're going to be in Beirut in about 10 days, and we're going to be bringing you what's going on direct from the Middle East. Yesterday, we reported that there is an attack on the Apostolic Church in Armenia, and they arrested at least 16 priests. They're going after the Catholicos, who is the head of the Orthodox Church in Ukraine, specifically the Armenian Apostolic Church, not the Ukrainian Orthodox Church. So many attacks on Christianity, I get them confused, but this one is going full steam in Armenia, and we're the only ones talking about it, my friends, the only ones. And so it's our calling to call out what's going on in Christianity. You're going to hear a lot more about that. Literally, they've been wiped off the face of the earth, primarily in the Middle East, the Armenian genocide. This is all of a piece. It's been going on for some time. We've also got Thomas Goad with us today from Newtown, Connecticut, who is a military veteran who's sick and tired of what's going on with the Marxist infiltration in Newtown, Connecticut. So I think you'll really enjoy hearing from him. And Ashe Epp will be with us in the second hour to talk about, again, election fraud in Colorado, Tina Peters, the Dominion sale, government shutdown, all of it. So hell of a show going on today. Today, by the way, is October 16th. This is Todd Wood, your host, and here is your mission brief. The Army goes nuclear in order to prevent any shutdown on bases due to a grid failure, which is looking highly probable with some kind of cyber attack or whatever. If the grid goes down, the Army can continue. So they're putting small nuclear devices on Army bases to power the facility. Palm Beach illegalities in elections. We're going to be talking about that with the Florida men here in the second segment. Ukrainian attacks on Christianity continue. Again, this is the government that we are funding with our money, with your tax dollars, are attacking churches with chainsaws and beating priests. I mean, what the hell is going on in the Trump administration to be supporting this garbage? A regional CDC, the Northeast blue states are worried about Trump shutting down the death shots. So they're forming their own CDC regionally to issue medical guidance for pregnant women to take vaccines and COVID vaccines. Go figure. And Tucker put out his fourth in a segment on the 9/11 files yesterday. It's on cdm.press. I would highly encourage you to watch it. We're going to be getting a lot of disclosure there, so a lot more is coming. We'll be right back. You're on the SCIF. Stay with us. We got a great show. Be right back.
I'm a naturopathic doctor. We are in the world of medicine very acquainted with many modalities, but probably the one most familiar with everybody would be two things: homeopathy and herbals or herbs, maybe some nutrients too, vitamins, minerals, that kind of thing. Now, we do know a lot about the drugs because we have to find out what drug you're taking affects you and what nutrient it depletes you of, because most every drug pharmacy product will deplete something. So we have been trained and we have a database that we can check into that says this is going to take your B12 away. The pharmaceutical company cannot patent organic substances made by the body. You're not born short of Advil. You're not born short of Ritalin.
Yeah.
You can be born short of insulin, right?
Mm-hmm.
The answers to staying healthy and keeping away from even SARS or any of those things getting into you is staying healthy.
Mm-hmm.
You and I get sick because our terrain gets out of balance. Well, that's the same thing in the soil. You and I are made from this thing called dirt. And when we get out of balance, we have the same thing happen. Weeds start to grow in our body. Right? And that's what we want in our body. We want nutrients that we don't understand how to get well enough yet because our suppliers are lacking knowledge on nutrient density foods.
So this is what drove you to develop
Well,
this, was your knowledge of this, right?
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You know that.
I'm excited to announce that we're having a huge sale on overstock and brand new products. For example, My Pillow Percale bed sheets, every color, every style, every size, only $29.88. Our Percale bed sheets are breathable, cool and crisp, and they're perfect for spring and summer. And check out Rev 7, the next generation of energy drinks. It tastes great, and it gives you energy all day with no jitters and no crashes. Best of all, it's actually good for you. And for a limited time, try our 3-pack absolutely free. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% on our Rev 7 12-packs, or try our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. And our Percale bed sheets, all sizes, only $29.88. Twin size, full size, queen size, king sizes, all $29.88. Inventory is extremely limited at this price, so order now.
Welcome back to the SCIF, where we tell you what you need to know, not necessarily what you think you want to know, but what you need to know to be the smartest in the room, the smartest at the water cooler, at the office, around the Thanksgiving dinner table, or wherever you are. We want you to be informed. So this is the show to do that. We're on podcast, any provider. You can listen to us in the car. We're on Gettr. We're on Gab, but we don't stream there. We stream on Gettr. We stream on X, Rumble. We load the show on YouTube. So we're trying to be everywhere we can be. So please spread the word, spread the links, etc. I want to say hello to the crew. You're cleared hot. Wow. A lot of engagement already this morning. Love that. And please check out whatfinger.com as an aggregator site. They post a lot of our content, and we really appreciate that. All right. So a lot is going on in Palm Beach County, and we're going to find out exactly what's happening. I got the Florida men with us here. Jeff Buongiorno, I'm told, and Chris Gleason. How you guys doing?
Doing well, Chris. Thanks for asking. How are you?
Jeff, what's going on, man, in Palm Beach? I'm going to turn it over to you and let you lay it out.
So we had the successful rally to record on October 10th. And if you remember, if you want to pull up that screenshot I got going there, that's what we started with last week, where they were trying to, the Palm Beach County Canvassing Board was trying to etch this policy into stone where you can't record. Now, this is very important to my litigation, because in 2024 they tried to do this in a subversive manner where they made up reasons to have people expelled, and one of them was, well, you're recorded in protected critical infrastructure area, which was where the Canvassing Board was being held. So this was by engineer. So if you remember, we had the rally to record, and we had some signs made. One of them here, you can see we had the Sunshine Law that guarantees us the right to record. We had the Prove Me Wrong Stacey Manning. He's the in-house counselor for the supervisor of elections, Wendy Link, and good old Pinellas County, where our friend Chris resides, has a an authoritative case law saying that, no, you got to let us record. And we had about 21 great patriots who came out to the supervisor of elections for the September 10th canvassing board meeting. And they caved like a cheap suit. Okay. They folded like a cheap suit. They caved like a cheap card table. So now we're allowed to record. Yesterday was the canvassing board meeting, 10:45 a.m. And a few of these folks, these great patriots in this picture here, they decided to attend that canvassing board meeting. And what's important to know is that not only were they banning us from recording, they were requiring us to sign into the meeting, to produce our ID. They were scanning our meeting, and they were taking our picture. I mean, you can walk into a vote, or you can mail a vote by mail ballot in, and never ever once have to prove ID. But
they put you on the list, Jeff. You know, everybody, they want them on the list.
Yeah, so you had to get on the list if you wanted to go to a canvassing board meeting. So I got reports back yesterday that they walked in, it was like butter. There was no ID requirements, no photos, and they were allowed to videotape. So I want to thank these great patriots, Bob Wood, who helped organize, a guy named David Wood, Mary Kelly. There's just too many to name. So with that, here's another here's another sign that we had. We printed out about $300 worth of signs. We had 20 people on the street corner, and they didn't like that. So what's going on now? Well, first of all, it's very important to realize that what they did by forcing us, now this is through September, this is through the entire 2024 election period for canvassing board meetings when I was a candidate. They not only did they ban recording, but they forced us to go through this like TSA craziness where they took pictures, took our biometrics, took DNA, and all this crazy stuff. But they can't do that. Okay, here's another AGO, right? And they hate when I fight AGOs, and they tell me, "Oh, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know how to present them. So stop doing that, Jeff." But here we go saying that. Well, no, you cannot ask for ID. Okay, in this AGO, it's clear that it creates a chilling effect and it impacts the public's willingness to attend an open canvassing board meeting. So this is critical because when there's case law, it's the guy name was Michael Jackson versus like Palm City, where they said if there's any canvassing, if there's any sunshine law violations, that's enough to prove irreparable harm. You don't even have to prove harm. So Chris and I are going to discuss this off camera, but we got them. They reversed course, okay? They conspired by putting that sign up, by passing this in their actual meeting minutes where you can't record. That's a conspiracy, right? More than one person conspired to create a chilling effect to reduce oversight at canvassing board meetings. So what do we have going next, Chris? Well, great question. Thanks for asking it. What we have on October 24th at 3:30 p.m., we're going to hold the Rally to Repay because Wendy Link has benefited more than her annual salary. She's benefited over $200,000 in fees paid to her legal defense. And as we talked about last week, we know that neither county funds are available in the office of the supervisor of election may be expended to defend a supervisor of elections who has been made a party defendant. This is the exact scenario, the exact law. It's been updated to now it's 102.168. These are just details in the weeds. But the reason I bring the details in the weeds up is I'm emailing the chairman of the Palm Beach County Republican Executive Committee, and I think Chris is on the chain, and he's telling me that, well, these AGOs, they don't say what they say, and You can't help that.
I'm on that email chain too, Jeff. I've been humorously watching that exchange going on.
Yeah. So he's, basically Wendy Link's lapdog. Okay, everyone has to realize that these Republican executive committees that are under the spell of the Republican Party of Florida, their main job is to convince people that Bongi and Chris are crazy election deniers. And with that, I'm sure Chris has some input.
Go ahead, Mr. Gleason. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good to see you.
So, we know conclusively that the elections here in Florida have not been legally administered nor legally certified. And they have been doing their best, their very, very best, throwing compromised judges at us, allowing for taxpayer funds to help conceal the fraud and the breach of public trust. And, we're really just holding them accountable at this point. There's no escaping it. They like to try to ignore us or minimize what we're doing or saying, like what Carl Cassio is saying over there in Palm Beach County. But as we know, you can't spell. You can't. Yeah. So this is just.
You can't spell Carcassio without Rico.
Yes, you can't spell Carcassio without Rico, and that's essentially where we're at this point. This is an ongoing breach of public trust, issue, and it's going on statewide. And essentially, people like Carl and others are part of the conspiracy, the lulling, the knowingly depriving candidates and voters of actual real elections. And they're doing this to obtain illicit benefits for themselves and others. And we're not going to let this go. We're not taking the cookies, even though the dark side has cookies. So we're told. We're not going to take the cookies. And, we're here to ensure that we have real, accurate, and true elections.
Chris, let me ask you, we had the Dominion sale. I want to get your opinion on that. But second question, Trump is out talking about Fulton County and yesterday or the day before about how obviously it was stolen. Look, go find those ballots in Fulton County warehouse, 40,000 or whatever, 140,000, I forget, that have been sealed. But does Trump know everything you're talking about? What's your gut tell you that's going on here?
Well, I really think Trump does know to a certain degree. I don't know if he knows the extent of how the RPOF have been attacking the America First MAGA contingent here in Florida.
And elsewhere.
And elsewhere. Yeah. I mean, this is
everywhere.
Yeah, this is a uniparty operation. But, I got the president a memorandum before my election. And I had a conversation with AG Pam Bondi. So, and there's been numerous emails with Harmeet Dillon and others. So we're going to keep the pressure on, keep everybody honest and above board. And we're going to ensure that, people are held accountable and that we actually have real and true elections. So
I just want to throw this. This is, if you go to the Miami Independent, you can see Jeff's call for Palm Beach for Wendy Link legal fees, the rally on that. So just to let our audience know, all of this is covered on the Miami Independent, by the way. Back to you, Jeff. What else do you want to say? I'll put your thing back up there.
Yeah, well, the number one basis of conservatism is, you have to help yourself, right? So here we are with a redheaded stepchildren of Palm Beach County. We're not getting any help. We 20 people made a huge difference. So, we get 100 people on the street corner and we organize with signs. And, I always call it, we name them the rally to record, right? Very simple to remember. It worked. This is the rally to repay. So we need 100 people with organized with signs. We don't need cinder blocks. We don't need pallets of bricks. We just need true patriots who aren't, we're not Antifa. We don't protest, okay? We rally. And this is the rally to repay and to make this woman pay. And once we don't have to go into the machines and all this other technical stuff that they intentionally block out. I mean, either they don't have the mental capacity or they just block it out. And what I'm seeing too, this is a very important note, what I'm seeing in Palm Beach County is you have people within the REC and the conservative, quote unquote, conservative party that are what they're doing is they're marginalizing me. They're dividing. So, these are the tactics that you learn at the Frankfurt School of Marxism.
Yeah.
And this is what's being done. You have these trusted people in the Republican Party. I call them Crawl with a K for Karl Marx. Crawl the lapdog Cassio, because he goes back and reports to Wendy Link. She flashes her little cleavage, and Cassio tells, "Oh, she's the greatest thing. She took 6 voters off the rolls. What else could we ask for?" So we have this problem where we're being marginalized, and I'm not sure if it's the Marxism tactic or if they don't have the skill set or the desire to do what Chris and I do. So they marginalize us, they demonize us, and they try to divide. So that's got to stop. We need 100+ people to come out on October 24th, the rally to repay. Okay? She's got to repay the funds. And once we prove that her whole defense for a year now is being illegally funded, well, that should be enough to avoid the election. Not only the fact that they're public meetings, they were not public canvassing board meetings. We have the case laws to prove that this is enough misconduct to cast out and either redo a new election or void the absentee ballots, because the balance of harm is in the people's favor. 400, almost 500,000 people got off their butts, went and voted in person, and 159,000 of these questionable vote by mail ballots of people or synthetic identities, they exercised a privilege that was granted to them. The folks that got off the couch, put the bonbons down, and came to vote and showed ID, they executed their constitutional right. So the balance of power, the balance of harm is in our favor. They violated the Sunshine Laws, which is a big, big no-no. They need to exercise strict compliance when administering an election, like Chris taught me. And that's it. It's game, set, match. We just need to keep this going. We need to keep the funding coming in. Help, that's tiny URL, help /help Bonji. Tiny URL /help Bonji. Keep the cash rolling in, and we're going to take her down. It's just a matter of time.
So in Georgia, a lot of people like you pushed back, and I see a lot of similarity in what's going on in Georgia and Florida with the Republican Party. They offered resolutions this week to remove anybody from the party who pushed back against the corrupt convention. Have you heard anything like that from the RPOF? I know they've canceled RECs in certain counties.
Well, first, let's call out Kathy Chamberlain in her great book, it's called Ruse for Rhinos. Everybody's got to get a copy of Kathy Chamberlain's book. It's on Amazon. But I tried to join the REC, and they wouldn't vote me in. So I don't even play that game. It's just a big distraction.
Chris, what's going on with the Dominion sale? What do you think's happening there?
So I have to ask the question, right? What difference does it make who the owner is? If the machines can be compromised remotely, the machines can be compromised remotely. So it does. So does it matter if it's being compromised remotely by U.S. government intelligence officials or by local yokel Republicans? Yeah. Either way, the machine's got to go. I mean, they're not accurate. They can be accessed remotely. They are flipping votes. I mean, we've shown that in Hillsborough County.
Mm-hmm.
They're deathly afraid of us seeing that here in Pinellas. And I mean, in Bonji's case over in Palm Beach, they're outright deleting stuff to conceal all of this.
Yeah. So
don't say log files. Don't say EL68A. Don't say log files. It's like Niagara Falls. Remember Niagara Falls? You can't say EL68A. You can't say log files. They melt down. And that's what we need.
Are they going to pass a law that you can't say that now? Or you
probably
Florida election integrity?
I don't know. We had don't say gay. Didn't we have don't say gay for a while? We're going to have don't say EL68A.
So a lot of people were saying ding dong Dominion's dead. That's not really a thing, huh?
No, it's a rinse and repeat. They changed the name, right? And move the assets to another area.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what we have.
I'm no lawyer, but I stayed at the Holiday Inn Express last night. Doesn't that mean that all the actions and all the lawsuits that were done, all of this illegalities and treason that Dominion committed, now it's closed. Who are you going to sue?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. There's get rid of the company and put a new sticker on it. What else, Chris, or Jeff? You got anything else before we go?
I just want to thank we had 21 great people. They came out. It was great. One of the sheriffs actually, there were sheriffs out there. I'm like, here we go again with the sheriffs. I wanted to have like Peter Tickton, a lawyer there, so we don't get arrested. And they held the door open for us. They were very nice. And on the way out, a sheriff actually said, "Thank you for breaking her spell." And
wow.
I got a text from one of the detectives who's been assigned to all these baseless claims. He sent me a text with just 3 letters, WOW.
Wow.
So
outstanding. Yep. It's kind of the feeling I had after Chris's trial or hearing. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
What about you, Chris? What else you got to say, man?
Well, we're waiting on the Florida Supreme Court and their decision on whether or not judges who have actual conflicts where they're witnesses, where they're victims. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the Florida Supreme Court rules. We're still waiting to hear from them. I think we may have some new stuff to file if they don't hurry up, but we'll see. We'll see how things pan out here. We had a big thing with the United States Supreme Court, where one of the judges disqualified himself from taking on the decision whether or not to hear Loomer's internet censorship case. So, one more instance where judges realize that if they're actually connected to a case, they can't preside over it. For some reason, the DCA judges here in Florida, that's unclear to them. And if that's unclear to them, what else is unclear to them? Where there's smoke, there's fire, right? Maybe these judges aren't fit to be presiding over cases, or they're just trying to cover up the fraud.
What about all that sealed evidence you presented that they completely put the big kibosh on? When are we going to see that in a legal sense?
Well, we're going to see how the Florida Supreme Court rules on it, because that's just part of what will end up having to come out. But you'll definitely see those sealed exhibits in some upcoming federal litigation. Because we have been reserving our rights for federal remedies. So, and that's going to be a really, really, really big thing.
Yeah, and that brings us back to my July 30th rights violation federal lawsuit where I had Judge Cannon, and I didn't really. I was just slinging crap at the wall to see what stuck. I had no idea what I was doing, but in her dismissal without prejudice, she found that I have standing to come back. So basically, she gave me a 12-page blueprint on how to do it right. And that's what I've been studying. And part of the exercise that we're going through now is only enhancing our federal rights violations case, which is going to be massive. And I'm timing it. I'm timing the filing as I'm running for United States Congress. So we're gonna kind of leverage that, have that federal case hanging over their heads as they plan their steal, and we're gonna file injunctions. We know exactly what they're doing. I mean, every time we catch them, they try, they send Evan Power, who's the chairman of the RPOF, and his cast of organized crime gangsters into the Florida Senate, and they pass laws to change, to cover the fraud. So we know what they're doing. We're gonna stop them as we go. We're gonna do our best, and you're gonna see us in federal court without question.
Wow. Thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Same bat channel.
Thank you,
Take care.
Todd.
All right. Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, in the case of hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin, these are two medications that have been FDA approved for use in humans for decades. They are very, very inexpensive. Interestingly, available over the counter in almost every other country other than the US and Canada. You can just walk into a pharmacy and buy them like we buy Tylenol in much of the world because they're that safe. And we've known for decades that ivermectin has very strong antiviral properties. It has anti-inflammatory properties, and both ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine are what we call zinc ionophores. They help to move zinc from the bloodstream into the cell, which is where it needs to be in order to fight off a virus. So lots of application for these, and we have every reason to believe that those drugs also will likely have some efficacy against H5N1 or a number of other respiratory viruses that we may meet down the road.
If you haven't noticed, gold has reached a new high, all-time highs actually, and keeps going up every day. Why is that? It's because precious metals are a long-time historical store of value. And if you own a portfolio and you have assets in the fiat currencies, i.e. stocks, bonds, cash, or whatever, you're vulnerable to hyperinflation, which is coming as our debt explodes another trillion every 90 days. It's really scary. So how do you protect yourself? Go to Advisor Metals. If you look on any of our cdm.press sites, about halfway down, there's an ad for Advisor Metals. Click on it, fill out the form for your contact info, and Ira Bishotsky will contact you and talk to you. It's an easy conversation. There's no sales pitch. He's completely verified by us. He has a regulatory background we've checked into. We've checked with his bankers. We've checked with his IRA custodians for metals, and we can highly recommend Advisor Metals and IRA. So go to Advisor Metals. If you call them directly, tell them we sent you at CDM, and he'll definitely take care of you. But protect your portfolio because you really need to. It's coming. Thank you. Welcome back to the SCIF. It's amazing how just a few people can make a huge, make a huge difference. Sorry about that. It's amazing how, excuse me, I'm going to take a break. I'll be right back. Sorry. The bird flu is circulating. We're getting more and more press, more fear mongering, more warnings about this. First, let's start with that. what say you on?
Well, what I say is it specifically is not circulating. It's in animals. There's one human, maybe two transmissions, no human-to-human transmission. And stand by, everybody. If there is some sort of sudden human-to-human transmission, you should immediately be suspicious that gain of function was involved with that. Just the fact that they're taking an animal virus and going nuts on it in the press and talking about it all the time, that to me leads me to believe that they have concerns that somebody is doing something with that virus, because this would not happen naturally, in my opinion.
Our world is changing rapidly. Many crucial systems we depend upon are collapsing. And the most important system that is failing is the food supply.
Mr. President, this Council is more than aware of the multiple challenges and threats the world is facing today. But the threat of famine, people starving slowly to death, must be a red line.
These food prices are going to keep going up and up, and they're going to keep feeding excuse after excuse, narrative after narrative.
Yeah,
you're going to have to get off that treadmill and start getting more autonomous with your own food growing.
You want to make sure that you can eat, because frankly, food is the biggest issue as we are going through these transitions.
But amidst the chaos, there is a path to resilience. Marjorie Wildcraft is the female leader of the survival and preparedness movement. Marjorie has taught millions of people how to grow an abundance of food in a grid-down situation, even if you have no experience, are older, or out of shape.
I've spent decades finding the fastest, easiest, and funnest ways for the average person to be able to grow a lot of food. I've created a step-by-step process that's so simple that even kids to elders have been using it in order to grow a lot of their own food. And you can too, even if you have no experience, you're older, or you're out of shape.
Growing your own food is like printing your own money. Get started today.
Welcome back to the SCIF. Sorry about that. We're going pretty hard around here. By the way, if you want to support us, go to the top right of our website, or you can, let me bring this up. You can go to my.cdm.press and sign up for our no ad subscriptions. You get access to all of our content with no ads. We're going really hard to put out a lot of really interesting, good, informative content that you need to know. So please support us with our no ad subscriptions and sign up for all our social media. CDM1 on Rumble, sign up for YouTube, sign up for CDM_press at X, and my account on X at Real L Todd Wood. A lot going on. I just want to highlight a little. I was talking about that a few people can make a big difference. Well, media can make a big difference too. If you go to Miami Independent, which we had up, and I've just brought that back up. This is our paper in South Florida. It has been extremely impactful. And you can find it at miamiindependent.com. And just wanted to highlight that paper. That's where you can find Chris and Jeff's, all their work at CDM. This is on the main site, cdm.press. You can see the video we played earlier where the Ukrainian government, their SBU, which is really their KGB, Bolsheviks attacking Orthodox Christians with chainsaws and priests, beating priests, etc. This is really uncool. And there are attacks on Christianity everywhere. So we're going to have Thomas Goad coming on here shortly. He is a veteran in Newtown, and we've been talking in Newtown about what's going on with the Marxist infiltration. It's happening across Connecticut. I'm well aware of the similar situation happening in Westport, Connecticut. But I want to bring Thomas on now, and we'll find out what's going on there. Thomas, my friend, I think you're on mute there. Let me see if I can unmute you. Nope, I can't. It shows you on mute, Thomas. There you go.
I don't think I can hear you.
You can't hear me? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Is your volume up? You just went muted again. Oh, sorry, guys. A little.
I can't hear you.
That's strange. Is the volume up on your computer?
How do I get this fixed?
Well, I'm going to bring out Thomas real quick, and we'll talk to another story. Thomas, if you can hear me, just stay where you are. We'll be right back with you as we try to get this fixed. I want to highlight this story in armedforces.press, which is the Army is putting nuclear reactors on 9 different bases to basically, if the grid gets shut down, they can come in and continue to work and continue to have the base operate as planned. And this is a nod to the worry that the grid is going to go down with some kind of cyber attack. So it's similar to what you can do in your own house by ordering, one of these generators with solar panels or whatever, and protect yourself if the grid does go down. At least you can run your devices, maybe run a CPAP or whatever you need that's really critical to you. So we're dealing with, well, he's gone. So I'm going to see if he comes back. Stay with us, guys. Let's talk about another story. The Tucker 9/11 files are here. They're up on cdm.press. This is the 4th episode. You can, or you should listen to this, all 4 of them. You can get all 4 now. I'm waiting on the 5th one. And Tucker lays out essentially the U.S. government was involved in 9/11. There were foreign powers involved in 9/11. He names several entities that highly likely they knew ahead of time what is going on or what was going on with the hijackers. He names Saudi Arabia, he names Israel, he names others as well. And so we can't wait to see what the 5th episode says. So I would highly recommend you look at all these. They're all on cdm.press, the first 4. The 5th one will be coming out next week, and we will put it out. Let's go to one more. We talked about Buongiorno, but this one's in Connecticut. It's extremely interesting, which is Governor Lamont joins Governor's Public Health Alliance, aka the Regional CDC, which is an attempt to continue recommendations to pregnant women and others, young people, et cetera, to take the COVID vaccines. That's what this basically is about. They want to continue to get the vax into bodies, into humans. And this is obvious. They want that mRNA technology in your body. And if they can't do it nationally, they're going to do it regionally with the normies who will continue to take this stuff. So it's really dastardly, and we don't like it at all. I'm still waiting on our guest, Thomas Goad, to come in. I'm not sure what's going on. Here he is. He's coming back. Let me see if we can get him on now. Hey, Thomas, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Excellent. Excellent.
I don't know what was going on. I was trying on my phone and it just wasn't going through.
No worries. No worries. Thanks for coming on. I spent a lot of time in Newtown myself. You're a resident of Newtown, is that correct?
Yes.
So, and you're a former Marine, I'm told.
Yes.
Excellent. What is going on in the great town of Newtown? It's so beautiful and idyllic and historic and the cradle of liberty, but what's happening in Newtown?
Try and condense this as much as possible.
Yeah.
So there's been, it's in 2 parts. There's a behavioral health therapist in the elementary school system that's been around for a few years. That she's also a sitting board member of the local activist organization, the Newtown Allies for Change.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry for the background noise if you're picking it up. Not many quiet places in fact.
Don't worry about it, man. We're used to live shows. It's all good. Keep going.
So, over the years, she has gotten very comfortable with making a lot of derogatory and inflammatory posts on Facebook. Her organization has also been provocative, to say it, for lack of better words. Their whole goal is to essentially push out right-wingers or conservatives and put their own agenda in place. It's something like, for instance, a couple of years ago with the whole book, whole books in libraries, and appropriate material, and some of the books that I've seen, dangerous for children to access. without naming the title of the book, how to access adult hookup sites for minors and how to keep it secret from your parents.
So we've seen this nationwide, and there's we figured out in Connecticut, this is all organized, and it's, they put these kind of unelected groups together in these towns, and then they infiltrate the police, they infiltrate the education system and the town government. This is Newtown Allies. That's the name of this one, correct?
Newtown Allies for Change.
I see. And it looks like they've done a good job of infiltrating Newtown and threatening the residents to go along with this whole plan, correct?
Okay. Their private page, which I've been able to view. There's two Facebook profiles. There's their public Facebook profile, and there's private chat board. They won't admit it, but they do have a continuing list of businesses that if the business doesn't align to their ideals or their agenda, they start a boycott. They start a boycott. I have a list off of it through, but one of the restaurants in town was Carminicio's.
Yes.
They started boycotting it.
That's a real popular place in Newtown. It's been there for years and years, and it's a great place to go get a slice, and the kids love it. And he's just an all-American guy, and that's a shame. Is it? How has he taken that? Is he pushed back?
I don't know. I haven't spoken with him. It's just what I've seen on there.
Yeah.
So far, the four businesses that I know that I'll read the post verbatim. They said, due to the RTC's Republican Town protest of our conversation here, awareness of hate-supporting businesses has increased. We've received an additional list from a community member who says that they were taking not businesses displaying signs during election season. We have no confirmation, so you would need to do your own research before making any conclusions. The four listed businesses are Newtown Hardware, Newtown Pools, and Land Surveyors and Trading Posts.
So they're going after patriots in Newtown, and there's been threats also, right? They threaten people physically. I think I read our paper, the Connecticut Sentinel, has put a lot of this out, but I'm told that they have physically threatened, and actually one got arrested, or what happened on that?
So I was able to pull the news article from a few years ago and actually speak with the parent. There was a confrontation in a Starbucks where the ally, the Nazi ally, who was the aggressor, came up and started talking to her and insulting her.
Yeah.
From what the parent said, a couple of racial slurs were thrown at the parent.
Wow.
And then I guess physical altercation, pushing. No specifics on the news article.
Wow. So you've had enough of this. I mean, you're trying to push back in Newtown, correct? What is your strategy to stop this?
So my concern was the posts that were made by the behavioral health therapist. A lot of it violates social media policy for school as an educator. It violates ethic codes. I've categorized at least 5 different categories: professionalism standards, harassment, policy violations, conflict of interest, and one of the newer categories I put was criminal violations.
Yeah.
There, I spoke with a parent where I do have the screenshot of conversation where it violates Connecticut's criminal extortion and coercion statutes.
So, have you been to the Newtown police? My understanding is they are a little bit scared of this group. At least that's what I've been told. I mean, what's your view?
Don't know. I recommended that the parent seek legal counsel for next steps.
Mm-hmm.
Not trying to give away too much detail,
Yeah, sure.
but essentially I'm working with other parents to help compile ethics violation report that will be submitted to the town ethics board and board of education.
So, as I was mentioning, this is really across the state in Connecticut. Like in Westport, they formed a group called Team Westport years ago. They brought in outsiders, and it's like the town Politburo, that they have to get Team Westport's permission before they can pass a law, an ordinance in the town, or spend money or whatever. It has to be approved by this unelected group of agitators. Is that similar to what's going on in Newtown?
To a degree.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, I don't have the resources to effectively push back against. To be honest, I don't have the resources. I work in a factory,
Yeah.
I don't have the resources and time to effectively push back against the NAFC in the area. But what I do have time is to start affecting their influence in certain public institutions.
So how can people help you, Thomas? If they're in Newtown and they want, I want to help this guy or get involved, where would they go? How would they contact you?
I know.
Okay.
Right now, I'm pretty close to being able. I'm finalizing drafts for the ethics violation report. So the biggest thing that can be done is raising awareness of and starting a grassroots movement to counter them.
Well, we'll have that on the Connecticut Sentinel. So if you're in Connecticut in Newtown, you can contact us there, and we can help you find information. And I know you're going to stay in touch with the Connecticut paper people. So thank you very much, Thomas. Appreciate you coming on today. Take care.
Is there anything else?
That's it, my friend. Take care. Bye.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
The bird flu is circulating. We're getting more and more press, more fear mongering, more warnings about this. First, let's start with that. What say you on?
Well, what I say is it specifically is not circulating. It's in animals. There's one human, maybe two transmissions, no human-to-human transmission. And stand by, everybody. If there is some sort of sudden human-to-human transmission, you should immediately be suspicious that gain of function was involved with that. Just the fact that they're taking an animal virus and going nuts on it in the press and talking about it all the time, that to me leads me to believe that they have concerns that somebody is doing something with that virus, because this would not happen naturally, in my opinion.
Our world is changing rapidly. Many crucial systems we depend upon are collapsing. And the most important system that is failing is the food supply.
Mr. President, this Council is more than aware of the multiple challenges and threats the world is facing today. But the threat of famine, people starving slowly to death, must be a red line.
These food prices are going to keep going up, and they're going to keep feeding excuse after excuse, narrative after narrative.
Yeah,
you're going to have to get off that treadmill and start getting more autonomous with your own food growing.
You want to make sure that you can eat, because frankly, food is the biggest issue as we are going through these transitions.
But amidst the chaos, there is a path to resilience. Marjorie Wildcraft is the female leader of the survival and preparedness movement. Marjorie has taught millions of people how to grow an abundance of food in a grid-down situation, even if you have no experience, are older, or out of shape.
I've spent decades finding the fastest, easiest, and funnest ways for the average person to be able to grow a lot of food. I've created a step-by-step process that's so simple that even kids to elders have been using it in order to grow a lot of their own food. And you can too, even if you have no experience, you're older, or you're out of shape.
Growing your own food is like printing your own money. Get started today.
Welcome back to the SCIF. Ashe, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Just so our audience knows, the Colorado Free Press, we ran to the sound of the guns a few years ago and put this paper together. And you've developed a reputation for getting out in the field and going places and getting the news and just really good journalism. So thank you very much and congratulations. But tell us first, before we get into the stories, what's going on with CFP?
Oh, yeah. Well, we have angles on stories that other people don't have. We've got some really good writers that are sort of embedded in different areas that we're reporting on, and we're getting the stories. It's interesting. We broke the BIOS passwords Gettr Griswold had on the website. We never got credit for that, right? We called the Department of State for comment that morning, and then later that afternoon there was a heavily produced 9 News segment where Gettr Griswold was able to tell all of her side of the story.
Conservative Inc. ran with it too, and they didn't give you credit, but there it is.
Yeah, well, yeah, they never do. So it's been wild being here. I think it's been a little over 2 years since we launched Colorado Free Press, and I think I personally believe that this is the dynamic in most states. You probably have a better view of that because you do business in so many of them. But this uniparty control dynamic where the major party in control does a bunch of things that are in line with the party platform. The minority party whines about it, but the only thing that ever really happens is globalism expands. Yeah. And that's been my experience in Colorado. Here, the majority party is Democrat Socialists of America. They're really communists, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And the minority party is Republican. A lot of money, a lot of big donors. And, every 2 years we do this dance where it's, if you want the state to change, you have to elect Republicans. And then, Republicans don't win because elections are stolen. And then they throw up their hands and they say, well, there's nothing we can do about this. Democrats are the problem. So give us more money and, maybe we'll get more seats next time. And it's this definition of insanity type of thing. From what I hear from my friends in red states, it's the same sort of thing. It's a little bit slower, maybe, right? The race to global communism is a little bit slower than it is in Colorado, but it's still happening.
Well, it is. You're the test case, I think. I mean, they test out everything like Dominion and all this, stuff.
Yeah, we call it the fraud test kitchen.
Yeah, no kidding. I call them Bolsheviks. Communist just doesn't have the right. It's not strong enough for me.
Yeah, but communist pisses them off the most.
Oh, really?
That's why I use it, because if you call them communists, they get real mad.
Point taken. I'm going to write a note. So. Dominion sale. Talk about this from your perspective.
Yeah, so it's interesting. We've I think a good amount of information here from what's happening with this in Colorado. So in Colorado, Dominion was the election technology vendor for 62 of 64 counties. It's now 61 of 64 counties. Elbert County moved to clear ballot either late last year or early this year, and I think they might have done the 2024 election on clear ballot, so it might have been before. But so 61 of 64 counties are impacted, ostensibly impacted by this deal. And the fact pattern that's come out has been a little bit weird. So we got the original announcement in which I'm just going to pull that up. In which Scott Leyendecker announced kind of what they were doing. Do you want me to screen share?
Yeah, sure. I can. You can bring it up, or I can.
I got it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There you go.
So yeah, here we go.
Yep.
So we saw this, right? This, our mission is clear. Every vote must be secure, fair, and verifiable. And I think most of the election integrity activists were highly skeptical of this because we're talking about an election vendor. We're talking about Dominion technology, people, process, governance, ostensibly still being in place, just with a different name. People were real frustrated. And this weekend, we had, well, actually before this weekend, this broke within, I think, 24 hours of the news of Liberty Vote happening, that a client of Dominion Voting got an email that said all email communications previously from dominionvoting.com email aliases will now be received from Liberty Vote, letting you guys know in case you need to change your spam filters. It's an exciting day, but it's business as usual. Same team, same support, different name.
Jeez. Well, there you go.
That kind of pissed some people off, right?
Well, I noticed that he said, okay, we're going to focus on paper ballots, but we're going to have great election technology, which means we're going to focus, we're going to look at them, but we're really going to use the machines. That's the way I took it.
Yeah, so it's an election technology company. It's, I think, becoming an election technology conglomerate. I have questions about whether Liberty Vote is going to be anything like, what's the roadmap? Is it going to be anything other than a holding company for these other election technology companies? Or is Liberty Vote going to be a company, right, that has a technology stack that's made up of legacy, Dominion, Knowing, and whatever else he buys? We don't know. We haven't gotten answers on anything having to do with the roadmap. But on Friday, Scott Leyendecker spoke with the large metro county clerks here in Colorado. And the next day, there was a vacancy committee vote for a seat that's open here in the State House. And the El Paso County clerk was there at that event. This is a somewhat official Republican gathering of constituents it was at a church, but it was an official Republican gathering. And he stated that he met with Scott Leyendecker, that he's very encouraged that all the old equipment is going to be retired, that they're working with the EAC to decommission all the old equipment, that the manufacturing is all of election machines is going to be brought back to the U.S. All the source code is going to be brought back to the U.S. And they're bringing in new independent auditors that have no connection to state or federal government, so they'll be truly independent. So that was Saturday that we got that news, and I have recordings of him saying that. It's his own words, and so it's a bunch of questions. Wait a second, what is this guy doing? Is he maybe buying all these technology companies and centralizing them, and he's going to decommission them? That would create urgency for a new solution, say decentralized hand counted elections. But what's going on? So then Monday, Scott Leyendecker met with all of the clerks in the state of Colorado, and I spoke to different clerks and learned that the opposite was said. He would love to bring manufacturing home, but that's damn near impossible from a supply chain standpoint. Just doesn't make sense. Nothing really about the source code, but the source code thing is interesting to me because it is an admission that Dominion source code was not U.S. developed base. I think we're pretty certain it was developed in Serbia, if I'm not mistaken on that. That what else? That there's going to be no change. The clerks that I spoke to from the Monday meeting, their impression overall was that this change is being done for branding. It's being done for public trust. There is we've got to get Dominion voting systems out of the story if we're ever going to have people trust elections again. And so we're going to call it something different.
It's not going to work, is it? I don't think so. I mean, what do you think?
I mean, it's, people are, people have short memories, especially when it comes to political things. So I hope not. The one thing that came out of the Monday meeting that is, a legal distinction is that I think we know now that Dominion is doing business as Liberty Vote. So same team, same support, different name.
Wow.
It foots with the first messaging that we got. It seems to me that what was happening at that HD 14 meeting on Saturday was a elected official who has oversight of elections was facing, it's a very conservative district, and they were in a church that's pastored by an election denier. My thinking is that he told them what they wanted to hear, because he wanted to get out of it. So I don't think that Scott Leindecker on Friday told everybody the things that were said, that were told.
Amazing.
But if Dominion is doing business as Liberty Vote, and then if No Inc. is also doing business as Liberty Vote, raises a bunch of questions about the roadmap of Liberty Vote, the company. What is this company going to be? Are you and what is the staffing of the company going to look like? If you have Dominion relationship managers, for example, all over the country, everywhere Dominion has a client that's their clients are governments, right? Anywhere that there's a client, they have a relationship manager that's selling solutions, solving problems, dealing with the invoicing, all of the things that manages their relationship with the business. Well, Knowing probably has those too. And
Knowing's been involved in all this for years, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the tabulators, from my understanding, I'm not the expert, but I heard of Knowing with David Clements years ago.
Yeah, and Knowing, one of the challenges, concerning issues about Knowing that I've heard is with the poll pads. There was a woman in Indiana that she went to vote, and the poll pads like scan your ID and then it prints you a ballot, and it scanned her ID and it printed her a ballot, and she went over to vote and it had the wrong name on it. It had the right address, but the wrong name on it. And that was pulled off of a scan of her ID. That's a big question about what database of information those poll pads are pulling from and things. Nothing ever happened with that. Nothing ever does happen with these things. It's always some sort of human error or system glitch answer that's been given. But what's the roadmap of this company? I think the American people have a right to know, and particularly if the whole reason we're doing this is to restore public trust, because public trust in elections is just so devastatingly low that we've got to get this company out of the headlines. We've got to rebrand it. If it's about public trust, you got to answer the damn questions.
Well, everybody, I got like 5 emails like saying somebody's buying trust. I mean, so if the guy was serious about getting trust, you'd think if he's got all the Dominion software, the Dominion machines, he'd say, okay, I'm opening them up, everybody come look, see what's going on, we're going to solve this problem once and for all. But we're not getting that. We're going to focus on paper ballots, whatever that means.
Well, and the paper ballot thing is a dodge, in my opinion. So I covered the Mike Lindell trial with Eric Coomer for Colorado Free Press back when that happened, and they had J. Alex Halderman as expert witness. Coomer did, and the defense showed J. Alex Halderman talking about the vulnerability of machines and all of the things that were said before the 2020 election, all of the vulnerabilities, concerns, all the DEF CON research, all that kind of stuff. And you can see J. Alex Halderman on a stage, I think it was, I forget what forum it was, but he's given a speech about elections, and he's talking about malware, and he's talking about supply chain issues, and he's talking about all of the problems that we've been raising. Big part of the reason we know so much about this is because of the work of J. Alex Halderman when Democrats were the election deniers, right? In the trial with Mike Lindell, his response to questions about that, like, why'd you flip? Right? Like, you're the expert and now all of a sudden everything's fine, but nothing meaningful has changed in the technology landscape. It's just the politics of it have changed. And his answer was, well, the vulnerabilities are still there, but we've mitigated them through risk limiting audits and paper records.
Oh, the old risk limiting audit. Brad Raffensperger special there.
Also piloted in Colorado.
There you go. There you go.
Wow. I'm telling you. And so that to me is misinformation. It's disinformation. Disinformation is the one with the intent to deceive. Misinformation says, oh, I could have mistakenly shared false information, but disinformation is I shared it to deceive you. And I think that's what's happening with this line. Scott Leindecker and Liberty Vote are saying the same thing, by the way. We have really robust risk limiting audits, and we have paper records. We're going to insist on paper records in every jurisdiction, so it's going to be fine.
Wow.
The paper records vary. The bigger issue is you're never allowed to look at them.
Yeah.
You're only allowed to look at the ballot images, and they will tell you that they go through the ballot images and remove any identifying marks, which is very silly because there are no, somebody can scribble a canary on their ballot if they want to, but you're not going to know who they are when they did that, right?
Yeah.
But they'll tell you, well, we have to go through, and this happened in Colorado in 2022. We have to go through and make sure that nobody's going to be identified by this. Like maybe they wrote their name on their ballot or something. We have to take that off. Well, what does that mean? It means they're telling you that they're editing the ballot images before they give them to you.
Yeah.
They've already admitted that they're editing the ballot images. So you have no ability to look at the paper records anyway. There's been lawsuits here. I think Marilyn Marks did a lawsuit here 10 years ago, 15 years ago to get access to the paper ballots, and she won, and they still won't give them to us. So it's the paper record thing is a dodge. And then of course, risk limiting audits, especially for large counties, the determination of which areas you're going to look at, how many ballots you're going to look at, what records you're going to pull, all of that is determined by computer.
Isn't that amazing? Do they have the QR code like in Georgia where you put your ballot in and then your information is stored on a QR code that you get back, and that's your proof of how you voted? And
we don't.
Obviously, you can't. That's interesting.
Yeah, and that I believe has been. I think that was the one good thing that came out of curling. A lot of nonsense came out of curling, but I think that one good things was the determinations about the QR codes. And I think that there is a concerted effort to get rid of the QR codes in all jurisdictions because of that.
Well, even Trump is talking about the ballots in the warehouse in Fulton County, so maybe we'll get to see those. I don't know. What about Tina Peters?
That's Bridget Thorne, right? The testimony of Bridget Thorne.
Yeah.
That story's crazy. I remember watching that Senate hearing when it was happening and having her talk about the what I call the test ballot factory. That they were just printing off ballots, and she comes over and sees two guys sitting at the computer marking everything as Biden. Everything is Biden. And she's like, no, you got to mix it up because we have to test all of the different connections of what people can vote. And oh man, I just can't put down a vote for Trump. Yeah, well, you kind of have to. Then the test ballots go missing and none of them are spoiled. Like, and conspiracy theories. No, absolutely not. It's
well, maybe POTUS knows, and maybe because, he's talking about the mail-in ballots and he's taking action on that with the executive order, but the machine's got to go. I mean, in my opinion. What about Tina Peters? What's going on there?
Yeah, so Tina Peters, we covered on Colorado Free Press her her motion for motion for bond in federal court because it was denied in state court. And Tina Peters was convicted in state court, which I think is, if she was convicted in federal court, President Trump would have pardoned her by now, I believe. But you can't because it's state court. And she was, if anybody wants the details about this, go to Colorado Free Press and search for Tina Peters. We covered every minute of her trial, kind of live posted it. We've kept up on all of the developments in her case, and much greater detail there. But in July, she was before the federal court asking for bond because the appellate court in Colorado said outright that the reason that they were keeping her detained pending her appeal proper of her trial conviction is because of what she might say. And Tina Peters' case in federal court is that that's a violation of her First Amendment right. You cannot detain somebody because of what they might say, particularly when everybody else would have been, out on appeal, out on bond, pending appeal in the same circumstances. It's a nonviolent crime. It essentially ties to a single misrepresentation that was made to multiple people. That's how they get to 9 years. That's how they get to 4 felonies. They have one conspiracy charge and they have the one misrepresentation to 3 different people. Those are 4 felonies. And then there's, some misdemeanors in there that are included in the total time that gets her to 9 years. But for her to be detained, she is no threat. to the community. She's not in power anymore. She can't do anything with elections. She can't access anything. It's literally what she might say. And the state appellate court said no. So when we went in July to that hearing, the Tina Peter defense team was bringing like 5 things, 5 arguments for why she should be out. And what happened was essentially the court dismissed, not officially dismissed, but basically said, I'm not going to hear these other 4 because there was different reasons for all 4 of them. But the summary of that is that there's still remedy being pursued in the state courts. So he can't at the federal court look at them yet, because there's still open path to remedy. They haven't been exhausted at the state level. I think that's legally sound. The one that is remaining is the First Amendment claim that they're keeping her incarcerated because of what she might say, and that's a violation of her rights. That hearing was it was wild. It was packed. There was an overflow room that was packed as well. We ended the hearing with the court asking for additional briefing on the First Amendment issue from all parties. And that was, slated to take about 6 weeks. It did. And then he asked for additional briefing on, so that was like, can the court do it? That first briefing, like what's the jurisdictional questions? Can the court do it? And then not long ago, he asked for additional briefing on the merits, which implies that he decided he, could potentially do what they're asking him to do. So that briefing on the merits is in. And part of what happened with or what was submitted on Tina Peters' behalf were a couple of things. One was an affidavit about election systems from Terpsahore Maris. Tori says is a podcaster. She submitted an affidavit back in the 2020 election, and she submitted one in this case. The other thing was the Venezuelan whistleblower. Again, sounds like the 2020 stuff, right? Venezuelan whistleblower. It's a deposition that was taken just the week before it was filed. So this is not old information from 2020. This is a new witness deposition that was taken in Florida, if I'm not mistaken, the week before it was filed. So just a few weeks ago. And in it, this whistleblower talks about, I actually have a summary here.
Yeah, that's huge. And we put it out, but it hasn't gotten the press it should have.
Yeah, well, I think there's some reasons for that, which we can talk about. But so Pat Colbeck, I think he's with Cause of America, says evidence 2004-2006 Venezuelan election stolen, Venezuelan whistleblower deposition in support of Tina Peters. Key assertions: 2004 election featured injection of 1 million fake voters into voter record system. Electoral system designated votes for each voter. 2006 election featured use of a tool called SAES. SAES is a tool that allows you to perform a test of the entire electoral system. County level election management servers are roughly equivalent to SAES in U.S. elections. Dominion's EMS development is based in Belgrade, Serbia. 2 weeks in a row was last Friday and the Friday before. Brian Lupo, who I do Why We Vote with on Friday nights, we went through that whistleblower deposition line by line, did sort of a dramatic reading of the transcript of it. And it's damning. And I think one of the most compelling parts of it is that the Venezuelan whistleblower, the assertions that he makes about the system in Venezuela and that was used in the Philippines and other places, that the assertions that he makes very closely match the design of our systems. The excuses that were given at the time in Venezuela very closely match the excuses that were given in the U.S. So I think it's very interesting. There is a hearing today at 2 p.m. I believe it's 2 p.m. Mountain Time. I unfortunately can't attend today, but it's like an hour away. But there's the hearing is about a motion to dismiss that Venezuelan whistleblower testimony. Wow. So whether or not it's relevant, And
so
this is part of why I think it hasn't gotten traction more broadly, is because this is all information that in her trial she was prohibited from bringing. She was never able to speak about her intent, speak about what she did, speak about what they found, none of those things. That was all restricted at trial. And so I think there is a possibility that the court will find that it's irrelevant, because it's not a part of the trial record and it's, seen as new information. However, I think that there's a real shot because she's being held because of what she might say. And
Yeah.
and what she might say is what they found in Mesa County elections when they did the images, and what they found in Mesa County elections when they did the images matches what happened in Venezuela, at least according
Wow.
to the record.
So my theory, I think somebody wants the oil in Venezuela, but I also think this is not about drugs coming out of Venezuela, these boats that Trump is blowing up. This is about what you're talking about. I think Trump has got an eyeball on what they did during his election in 2020 and elsewhere. So I think maybe that's part of it. What about
To me, there's no universe in which Trump doesn't know.
Yeah, exactly. What about Mike Lindell? Tucker was talking about the other day that they've taken his company now or are about to. Do you know anything about that?
I'm not familiar with them taking his company. I know that with the Liberty Vote acquisition of Dominion voting systems, a number of the lawsuits were thrown out. So Dominion has lawsuits against everybody everywhere, right? For saying bad things about Dominion that just so happen to be true.
Yeah.
And the part of the condition that Scott Leindecker put forward in the sale was that many of those lawsuits would be dismissed. It's my understanding that Mike Lindell's lawsuit has not been dismissed. It was not included as a part of the due diligence for this deal. I think that's interesting. I don't know why. I would imagine that Mike Lindell's, the Dominion case against Mike Lindell is going to go away at some point. Mike Lindell is very bullish on going to court on it because he wants discovery with Dominion. And I support him wholeheartedly in all of that. I don't think, if the goal of these people is to change the name and make everybody forget, there's a significant number of us that are not going to let that happen.
Oh, completely agree. So I had heard though that the judge defaulted him and said you're guilty no matter what. Now we're only talking about the remedy.
Yeah. Yes, they also did this to him sort of in the Eric Coomer case, by the way. It was the statements are defamatory. You can't, question that. Now, is it malicious or is it not? And what's the damage landscape look like? I'm not surprised by that. It's the same thing they did to Alex Jones.
Well, that's who said it was Alex Jones and Tucker. They were talking about it.
I remember that just distinctly when it happened to Alex Jones. I was like, how can you not have a jury decision on the actual conviction and only bring it to the jury when we're talking about how much money? It's mental. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that is, Todd, one of the things that is, it has been an evolution. Justice Gorsuch talks about this, is this move to bench trials. And, all of these were in essence jury trials, but the role of the bench and the control of the what's presented to the jury, how they're allowed to interpret the law. They've really neutered the role and impact of the jury as it was designed in our legal system from the outset, right? Like if an attorney or a participant on a jury talks about jury nullification, they can be imprisoned. And that's a lawyer can lose their license, jury can be imprisoned. That was part of the design. It's part of the design of the system. They don't like it.
You bring in these foreign-born judges, and then you let the judges decide the cases, and the jury is irrelevant. Wow. Speaking of cases, what's going on with all your stuff? I mean, people may not know you've been pretty out there, pro se litigant, and winning cases on your own. So what's happening with you?
Yeah, so I have two cases. It's the same case, but two different, cases in the two different actions in the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals here. So we went to trial last July. We were accused by the NAACP, League of Women Voters, and Mi Familia Vota of violating the Voting Rights Act and KKK Act by sending armed agents to people's homes to interrogate them and intimidate them about their vote. It's never true. It was a media fabrication by a bunch of ACLU researchers that pretend to be journalists. And it was, 2.5 years. The process is the punishment. They never had a case. They never had any evidence of the things that they said, but they did very, cleverly crafted pleadings to, and then at times straight up lied to beat, dispositive motions. We won definitively at halftime because again, they had no evidence that what they said was a lie. It was just a fake narrative. And so we won on a 52C motion, directed verdict, which means they presented their case. We cross-examined all the witnesses that they brought, but we didn't have to bring our defense case in chief, because at the time that they rested their case, they had not made it. And so we won, and then we were awarded costs. Plaintiffs appealed, and we've been in the 10th Circuit since about September of 2024. And so it's all fully briefed. We got notice last month that the it's on the docket for, I think it's November 18th. There's no oral arguments, so it's just like batched with the cases that they're doing that day. But I'm hoping that that means we get an answer by Christmas. They had 4 grounds of appeal. 3 of them had to do with the judge's treatment of certain evidence at trial, but one of them is about, which I think is their only kind of strong appeal, because it's a legal question, a constitutional question, about whether or not unincorporated associations can or cannot be sued. The circuits are split on that question. Our judge deferred to the precedent of the 10th Circuit in saying that she was justified in throwing out the unincorporated association that we had founded. The plaintiffs say that means that was the reason that they couldn't bring their case. They had no evidence, so that was the reason that they couldn't win their case, but they claimed that it was because of that. So we'll see what happens there. And then, if we win and they appeal, then we're going to SCOTUS. I doubt SCOTUS would take it up. The only reason SCOTUS would take it up is because the circuits are split, and it's a long-standing question about unincorporated associations. But we'll see what happens. It really is, the process is the punishment. March 9th, 2022 was the day that we learned that we weren't actually served for like 10 days after that, but we learned from a reporter calling Holly for comment that we were being sued. And it hasn't been a day since March 9th, 2022 that I haven't been thinking about and had this kind of, this just kind of cloud there.
Oh, geez. You've learned a lot though, right? I mean,
yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I do think one silver lining is it's maybe a better journalist as it pertains to legal matters, because this is one of the things like around the Tina Peters thing, right? Like a lot of people are saying President Trump can immediately declare her a federal whistleblower and move her into federal protection and get her out of that state court. I don't think he can do that, actually, because of the legal questions. And it comes down to what is her testimony, and that comes down to the rules of evidence, right? So you hearsay is inadmissible, and Tina Peters talking about what they found in the Mesa County election reports would be hearsay, because she's not the technical expert. She didn't do the analysis. She didn't write the report. She was, a catalyst for getting the images to do the report. She knows what's in the report. She can speak intelligently about it, but from a legal standpoint, that's hearsay. So what would her testimony be that a judge would sign off on to say, absolutely, yes, we need to make you a federal whistleblower? I just don't see any path for that happening. I've taken a lot of shit for that, by the way, because everybody's on board with just declare a federal whistleblower. I want us to operate within the confines of the law. I also feel very strongly, and I'm pretty sure Tina Peters agrees with me, that if getting her out of prison at this point sacrifices the fight for free and fair elections, then all of her struggles and sacrifices have been in vain. I actually asked one of her best friends who talks to her all the time that question, and she said, oh, absolutely, Tina Peters does not want to get out at the expense of the country.
Well, you know what? You're right in line with my view of the world, which is why I love the Colorado Free Press, because we're about credibility. We're about what's right. We're about following the law, no matter what. We're not in any cults. We just want to get the information out that people can make good decisions and go forward and get our free republic back. So
yeah.
Tell us about the Colorado show. I laugh every time I watch that show. I mean,
that's the
I want
point.
something upbeat, I watch the Colorado show. So tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, the point, we call it the most serious news show in the Centennial State, and then we laugh because we're treating the news of Colorado with the level of respect that it deserves, and it's a clown show. It's a test kitchen for all the bad ideas. The Republican establishment is just absolutely impotent. There's a good buzz right now because we got Victor Marx has launched his campaign for governor, and he's got like really strong alpha male, just go in there and kick their butts kind of energy, which the people in Colorado, I mean, we've been run by Jared Polis for almost 8 years. People are ready for a change in tone, but the the Colorado show is me and Karen Kennedy. We're both here in Colorado and both kind of, ragers about what's happening here. Karen was a former federal employee during the Biden administration, was working in HHS and has a lot of experience with what they're doing with migrant kids once they get them in the country. And Darren was born here in Colorado and he lives in Miami now. And basically it's, him trying to convince Karen and I to move and us, telling him to really appreciate Florida.
Well, if you're moving to Florida, how are you going to do the Colorado show? You have
Well, we'll see. I'm still actively involved in litigation in Colorado. So I imagine I'll be back and forth quite a bit, but no firm decisions on moving yet. It's hard to think about leaving. I'm invested in this fight here, but I'm also, a target on all of the lists, and it's incredibly unaffordable to live here.
Yeah, well, Miami's great.
Unaffordable to live here. Example: President Trump does no tax on tips. Colorado picks it up because now they can, right? So now tips are taxed more for gig workers and tip workers. So.
Well, you're making a huge difference. Thanks so much. Love the show. Love everything you do. Great journalism. If you're in the area or even if you're not, coloradofreepress.com. Check it out. Thanks so much, Ashe. We'll have you back.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Ciao. Bye.
Can I ask a question about the nicotine pouches?
Yes.
Does it melt in your mouth or do you have to spit it out later?
You can spit it out, you can swallow it, or you just savor it. I mean, you throw it in like you would a dip of tobacco.
Okay.
But you just let it sit there and then it suffuses your nervous system with life-giving nicotine. And it really does feel like the hand of God is massaging you.
But does it feel like the high of smoking a cigarette?
It's simultaneously, if you can imagine the Zen paradox, higher alertness accompanied by deep relaxation.
Wow.
So you really are, it's a Zen experience. You're like cat-like in your readiness, but you're fully
And how long does it last?
I always have one going. Sometimes if things are, if I need it, I'll put another one in. So I've got 18 milligrams of nicotine, but that gives me an unfair advantage.
You're banging 18 milligrams? Woo. That's impressive.
I don't like to because everybody else kind of recedes into the background and I become this kind of colossus when I do that and I feel guilty about it. Hubris is inevitable at that point. So I usually keep it to one.
I mean, I could use a new addiction.
Oh, yes.
What's the gateway drug level? What would you prescribe?
This sits between caffeine and cocaine.
We sell a 3 milligram, but there's a transition like all great addictions. Like it's not instant. You do vomit at first, but then your body acclimates.
Wait is finally over. My towels are back in stock, but not for long. Get a 6-piece My Towel set, regular $69.98, now only $39.98. Towels that actually work. What a concept. And that's not all. Check out our My Pillow bed sheets, only $29.88. Any color, any style, any size, even kings, regular $119.98, now only $29.88. And how about our limited edition premium My Pillows, made with Giza cotton and a designer gusset, made exclusively for you to thank you for all your support. Queens $17.98, Kings only $19.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get My Towels for $39.98, My Pillow bed sheets only $29.88, and our limited edition My Pillow Queens $17.98 and Kings only $19.98. Quantities won't last long, so order now.
Welcome back to the SCIF. Thanks for joining us today. I want to give a shout out to all of our guests. Just fantastic stuff going on with the people we bring on. Tomorrow is going to be just as good. We've got Tom T coming on to talk markets and some other people. It's going to be a blast. Please sign up for our no ad subscriptions. Help us out on social media. Do it right now. If you're not, already subscribed to our Rumble and our YouTube channels, please do that. And our X channel, CDM_press. Really appreciate that. And you know what? Christmas is coming, so check out all of our vendors for the gifts. By the way, we're selling a lot of the wellness company stuff right now. The big sellers are the skin cream for the arthritis, the ivermectin cream, and the emergency medical kits. People are really worried about what's coming. You know, Fauci was out the other day talking about, well, you know, there's going to be another pandemic this year, we're sure. This is the travel emergency kit. This is the contagion kit for respiratory diseases. Go to twc.health/CDM and you can find all of this stuff, and just spend some time on the website on how they are reimagining healthcare with the nutraceuticals, the supplements, all of this stuff. Check it all out. And the doctor visits, the weight loss, the parasite cleanses, everything they're doing is fantastic. So please, twc.health/CDM, promo code CDM, and you get 10% off. Christmas is coming. Make sure you use us for the stocking stuffers. Go to cdm.press, second top menu, all of our different retailers that we use to help fund the show. So thank you very much. We will see you tomorrow. We're going to have great guests, and then we'll be on the Georgia show Sunday at 2 with Bill Quinn. So stay with us tomorrow morning. Take care.